I love playing World of Warships. It's one of my favorite games to play online. I open with that because the recent trend in updates in Warships and dev posts has me quite worried about the future of this game and whether I'll even be playing it within 6 months from now. And it's not the game overall. I mean, it does have its flaws, but it's more how the gameplay is starting to progress in the eyes of me as a player who has over 5,000 battles, has all the tier 10s, enjoys playing all the different game modes, and I'm not going to focus on the issues with ranked or clan battles. I've kind of told those off before. This one's going to focus on randoms. And it's going to focus mainly not so much just the battle mode itself, but the ships and the updates that are coming and why I think this game is starting to go downhill. I want to start off with the carrier rework that they have on the horizon. It's not looking good. I was really hopeful. When they started announcing that they were doing this, I was like, all right, we're finally going to fix the problem with carriers being unwanted in the game. Nobody likes to see a carrier in their game. I mean, 9 times out of 10, if there's a carrier in a game, somebody's going to complain, whether it's at the start of the match or the end of the match, because there's either a huge skill gap or they one-shot somebody and takes them completely out of the game. There's no interaction really right now. The rework doesn't add any interaction. In fact, it makes it worse in my opinion. The carrier still technically has the same strike capability because rather than just hitting once for all your HP, now the carrier can strike multiple times with one squad and just slowly whittle you away. And they can space out those attacks so that they make sure that you flood out or burn down. And they're going to get their damage off no matter what. Anti-aircraft still doesn't have any interaction with these planes. There's a complete cutoff between surface ships and carriers that just cannot be overcome because something's doing damage to you that you cannot physically find and damage back because they're hiding at the back of the map. They're hitting you with these airplanes that you can, for right now, you can click on and hope your anti-aircraft shoots it down. But I mean, there's no interaction and it just is painful to play against. And it's going to continue if they continue with this carrier rework. Even as the carrier, it's boring as hell to play. There's no real strategy other than timing your attacks. It's prettier, but you're only getting one squad to play with. You're not interacting with multiple flights. You're not changing your loadouts. You're not picking what you're launching for the most. Well, I guess you are, but you're not. There's no risk reward because you have this unlimited hangar bay. If you lose your planes, oh well, take off with another one. Go damage some more ships until I farm my 200,000 damage and 7 kills. And then they took away the interaction with fighters. Fighters are now just mindless drones that you can tell to go somewhere. It's all computer controlled because we're not smart enough to control those. And now on that same level, we can't control our carriers at the same time as we can control planes. I mean, we can click where our carrier can go on the map, but we can't actually go control our carrier. So if a destroyer is chasing after us and we want to do some nifty turns with our keyboard, well, we either have to hope that our squadron of planes that we're controlling gets shot down, or have to return them back to us in time, because we can't touch our carrier otherwise, because we can't control 2 things at once for some reason. And it just seems so boring to play. And it seems to be a lot of the community's opinion that this rework isn't going to fix anything. It fixes the spotting issue that CV's had slightly, because they can't sit there and post different squadrons over different areas of the map for the entire game, but they can sure shadow a destroyer with one squadron now that that's all they have to do. This isn't the fix. This is going to make it worse for both the players in the battleships and the cruisers and the destroyers, and those playing the carriers who are bored out of their fucking minds. Sorry for my French. But outside of carriers, the game still has issues, and it's not so much the gameplay, it's where the gameplay is going through developments. And I don't mean to stat shame with this comment, but it seems like the devs are really starting to lean towards the complaints of the lowest common denominator. The players who don't want to learn how to counter another ship or don't want to change their playstyle, they want to sit there broadside and not get punished. They don't want to have to change their ammunition type. They don't want to have to deal with something that can out-conceal them. They don't want to have to work to outplay somebody. Now, this isn't exactly the player's fault in some cases. Some of this is Wargaming's fault, and some of this is the player's fault. On Wargaming's side, this is the fault of them never really starting any training in this game. There's a few how-to videos, like how penetrations work, how armor works, that sort of thing, but there's no tutorial video, there's no tutorial mission, there's no here's how your ship works, here's how you're going to take a lot of damage, here's why you should use this shell, here's why you should use that shell, here's how concealment works. There's none of that when a player first joins the game. They have to go outside of the game and find it. And then Wargaming kind of leaves it to the community contributors to pick up the slack and teach them. Well, a lot of players aren't going to go to these community contributors all the time and learn the game. Some will, and some will make themselves better for it. Others won't. The other problem with this statement is bandwagoning. The way to get views most of the time is to create conflict. So as soon as the community decides that a ship is broken, well, if I went out and made a video showing why it was so broken and complaining that Wargaming should delete it and so on and so forth, that's going to generate a lot of views, isn't it? But that's also influencing a lot of people, and it's influencing them the wrong way, because it's not showing how to counter it, it's not showing how to beat it, it's not showing how to outsmart it. It's just claiming that it's OP. And I think a lot of this is Wargaming's fault for, like I said, just kind of giving players no direction to go in when they start. The other side is the player's fault. It's the players that don't want to learn to counter anything. They don't want to change their playstyle. They don't want to learn how to use their concealment. They want to sit there broadside, they want to spam their high explosive, and they want kills, and they don't want to get punished for it. AKA getting one shot by a battleship that's across the map who could aim better. And a lot of this has come up to me because of the recent dev posts. I mean, let's look at the most recent one that everybody's kind of up in arms at. The battle cruisers, the Alaska, the Kronstadt, the Stalingrad, and the Graf Spee. The last post on the dev block said Azuma and Alaska were getting their fire durations increased to 60 seconds from what has been standard to this point being the 45-second fire duration. To a lot of players, this won't seem like a lot. To anybody who knows how to counter these ships, it's a decent amount because now they burn like a battleship. And high explosive is how you counter these ships for the most part if they bow onto you and you're really focused on burning them down. And in a lot of scenarios, the fire decreases their concealment enough that it keeps them spotted so you can continue fire spamming them. And a lot of these battlecruisers don't have the rate of fire to contest with you most of the time unless, like I said, you're sitting broadside. So why is this such a bad change if it's only 15 seconds? Well, now you're taking a group of ships that had this weakness and it was the way to counter them outside of getting their flank and completely destroying them because they have no side armor and people can't understand this. So instead of making use of the Henri IV or making use of the Hindenburg that can HE spam really good and have the shell size and the penetration to penetrate their armor and do a lot of damage, or having a Zhao that can sneak up on their side and armor piercing citadel them, or HE spam them, or hit them with torpedoes, it makes it all moot. Now you can just go get in any ship and HE spam them and burn them down. It takes away the skill, it takes away the fun, it takes away the outplay. Now a lot of players are saying, good, let's nerf the Stalingrad, it deserves it. Is this true though? Really, it's just a bigger Moskva. The controversy with Stalingrad right now is no different than the controversy around the teams that were running 7 Moskvas in Clan Battle Season 1. But where did that go? It doesn't seem to be around anymore. Well, that went away because Hindenburg and Henri IV. Because their HE shells are really, really good at countering these 2 ships. So as people started to play those to counter them, suddenly nobody wanted to play Moskva anymore. And the same is with Stalingrad. All you're seeing in game now are Henri IVs. So where's the Stalingrads? They were the most broken thing since, I don't know, broken glass? Well, most teams, if they want to run any, run one, or they run a Moskva because it has better concealment and can spam HE and has a little bit better fire rate and a little bit better maneuverability and hydro. But you're not supposed to run that because Stalingrad's OP. I hate to break it to people, but this game revolves around countering your opponents, out-predicting them, outplaying them. And you can't have that if they continuously dumb down the game. And between these two things and just the trend of developments that have been coming out where it's continuously picking away at these little outplays you can do. It's nerfing the concealment of ships because they're too stealthy. It's taking away the radar of some ships because they're too good, which Worcester deserved it. I mean, even look at the change to destroyers. Rather than fix their armor system or the pen system, where people were getting double pens and full pens where they shouldn't, Wargaming just Sledgehammer changed it and said they can't take any more than 10% from armor piercing beyond a certain caliber, which for some cases made destroyers more survivable, but in a lot of cases those shells deserved their full penetrations because people weren't angling properly, they weren't showing a full broadside to eat over pens, so on and so forth. It's kind of a give-take there as to good and bad, but it's still a very large sledgehammer fix where Wargaming just said screw it, we'll make it 10% so people don't have to worry about stuff, and now we don't have to fix our armor system, and battleships and cruisers don't have to worry about the double pens because they have the HP. I don't even know. There's just been so many nerfs to things that were fun or things that were you could do stuff with and make different plays with, that it's just turning into a corridor shooter where you're going down through the map, you're loading the high explosive, and you're just shooting at people. You're not getting any big damage, you're just shooting people. Interesting how this sounds very similar to World of Tanks minus the gold rounds and super armor. Wonder what the trend is with that game lately. Anyway, that's kind of my opinion on it right now. I'm not saying that players are bad at all in this, so please don't take it that way. I'm saying that Wargaming is nerfing stuff and taking away the skill and making the game accessible, but they're not. This is in lieu of them not wanting to put in the time to make something that trains players, to have players actually learn how to play their ships, and it's ruining the game. I really don't know. I so wish Wargaming would do something to fix that, but they just refuse to. I thought operations would be the way to go, but they seem to not want to take that down to tier 1 and kind of hold players' hands. Anyway, let me know you guys' opinions on this. Whether you think I'm right, whether you think I'm wrong, whether you want to yell at me for being a bloody unicum stat padding shamer. I don't know. Good luck out there, guys. I hope you're having fun in your battles. I will be over the holidays and the new year, and have a good day.